What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. So, you guys know I've been back, for a little bit. I've been gone for a little bit, maybe a good 2 months. So I decided, let me come back. I've been keeping up with the fights and what's going on. So let me come back and jump back in this when it's time. I wanted to do this a little bit sooner, but I wasn't available to do it. I had other things I was doing, more important, family stuff and business and all of that. So now I dropped several videos today. So I got a response from somebody, and I'm going to read this response. And then I'm going to respond to this response. And a lot of time I read something and I say, something. A lot of time what people don't get is they feel, in a lot of ways, the same way I do about things. I just don't make things personal when it comes to fighters. I'm not concerned about, the things that people say so much, where I want to focus on that. There's many times, you know me, I expose people, situations. I went back, pulled up other videos, played the audio so everybody could hear it. Now, this video was about Leonardo 2 versus Alicia Baumgartner. So the response wasn't about that fight. But now I'm going to read this, and I want this person, I hope they watch this video so they can see this, because they are expressing exactly what I'm saying. And this is what we don't need to feed into. When I do make videos, if people choose to watch certain things over others, I can't force you to watch something, but the things that when people say, how come you didn't do this? It's like, yeah, I did that months ago. Where were you at? You didn't see it. Okay, so this is from a channel called Monday and Friday 9557. Now, this is what he said. He said, yo, Aries, I got a lot to say, but it would be a waste of my time. I was disappointed in the lack of respect Spence was getting from the boxing world leading up to the Crawford fight. I was also disappointed that you didn't feel the same as me. Okay. Aries, you vaguely pointed out the biased commentary from the media that were more digs by the media at Errol as the order of the day. The media favored Crawford. I had no problem with that, but the media seemed to have disdain for Spence for some reason. Why haven't you commented on the fight? I feel like Errol threw the fight, and I'm disappointed that he lost and so badly. I ran into your channel whilst you were exposing all those sellouts and haters who tried to put out Haney's light after the Loma fight. I say all that to say, even though I'm wasting my time here, but there is a killer put on by white supremacists here on YouTube named Charleston White, who was put up on a video saying, I hate Errol Spence. I didn't watch it. I don't watch this BS, but I felt the media had something personal against Errol, and wouldn't you know it, would be another black man to do the devil's work gleefully. Okay, so let me respond to you. I'm assuming you're, I don't know, male or female, but let me respond and say Monday and Friday 9557. Okay. Now, the first thing that's different is these things affect you personally. This is nothing personal for me. I do boxing news. Now, you pointed out that you saw me defending Devin Haney. I was defending the right and the wrong. That's what I defend. Okay, I challenge the logic. And then what I do is I'll bring receipts for what people say, because they love to say one thing and then change their opinion. Now, the reality is, depending on how I feel. Now, you said that you felt disappointed that I didn't feel about something the same way you did. I don't know exactly what that is that you're talking about, but at the end of the day, I don't tell people how to feel. I just speak the truth of what I see. I haven't made a video in like 2 months. Okay, I was vacationing with my family and living my life and doing what I do. So simple. I get tired, and this is the point. I made a boxing channel, not a boxing drama channel. I don't talk domestic stuff. I don't get into people's personal lives. In terms of the bias, well, months ago, way before the fight happened, I don't know where you were, but I made several videos where I spoke up that people were being biased towards Errol. But at the end of the day, this is the type of things like the video I made where I said this type of stuff is being spearheaded by like Roy Jones, Paulie Malignaggi, Antonio Tarver on that little show that they had. I don't know where you were, but I made a video referencing that months ago. Now, my thing wasn't to try to say you should cheer for Errol Spence instead of, Terrence Crawford. What I was pointing out was I was actually reacting to someone that had the nerve to come on my channel and say, I'm just backing up Spence because I like Spence more. The reality is, and I've said this from day one and I'll say it again, and I just mentioned this in the video, Errol Spence, he basically went into this fight, and no matter who he fights, I've always rolled with Spence. That's just me, okay? But that doesn't mean Spence is going to win just because I want to see him win. And Crawford, I respect his skill set. I don't blame Crawford for what people feel about him. I don't blame Spence for what people feel about him. At the end of the day, Crawford fans can't fight for him. Spence fans can't fight for him, right? It's just the two men in the ring. That's where I want to keep my focus. This is part of what turns me off about all of this whole nonsense because it's more boxing drama and nonsense. And instead of us talking about fights, we're talking about things like this. The bias means nothing. At the end of the day, that's not what I'm tuning in for. I'm tuning in to talk about boxing. So when I do address things, like example, I don't know if you saw the video Monday and Friday night, okay, 9557, where I made the video when I was clearly speaking and directing everything, calling names and the whole nine about people with this disrespect and racist crap that they were saying about Claressa Shields. And I could care less about how people felt. You had even black people, which in this very video, I'm going to address things because this is the video I was getting ready to make and I just read your comment. So I pulled it up on my other computer and I'm looking at this while I'm talking. You had black people saying things like, oh, this bitch need to be put in her place. She talked too much. This bitch thinks she all that. All she is a decent fighter in a division with a bunch of crappy fighters because women can't fight, blah, blah, blah. So even black people was knocking Claressa Shields. I addressed that shit. I addressed Paulie Malignaggi, yes, for his racism and his bullshit that he was saying against Devin Haney and the black people. That was everybody. I mentioned Goods the Animal, that battle rap dude or whatever he is, Nelly, all of these people making these stupid, ignorant comments and ass kissing, buck dancing. I addressed Keyshawn Davis, Shakur Stevens, all of that. So if I'll do it, and the fact that it wasn't a personal thing, I don't know Devin Haney. I'm not friends with them. And his dad, I don't know these people personally. It's the logic, the reason I'm not emotionally attached. I'm not the guy jumping up, pumping my fist, screaming, taking. No, I don't do that. It's just a sport to me. Do you understand? So, whereas you see something a certain way, you're emotionally invested. I'm not. The logic, the reason, the right and wrong. Okay? The right and wrong. What's real in the matter. That's what I speak on. Now, as far as the disrespect, like example, people were telling me that Fulton was going to get destroyed by Niue. I said, we'll know when the fight happened. He may very well. The point, what I'm saying is, what you guys see is this is going to be the key factor. That's not going to be the key factor to me. In fact, there was one round where Fulton landed, I think it was a right hook or whatever it was. He like he caught Inouye with a solid one solid punch. Nothing followed behind it. And Inouye, okay, he caught me, but he's afraid to follow up. He tore the guy to shreds. He ripped him apart, okay? The power wasn't it. It was being able to get the shots there. It's not the power. Don't matter how hard you hit. If you can't hit the target, then you're doing no damage, right? I'm not defending Fulton personally. I'm looking at the logic, and what I'm saying is, I never told anybody Inouye won't beat him. I'm saying more than likely Inouye probably is going to win because I personally thought Inouye would win that fight. If I had to pick, but that's not what I was doing. I'm sitting back like, hey, may the best man win. Do you understand? It's not about who I wanted to win. As I said earlier, who you want to win may not necessarily win the fight. Okay. We focus too much on talk, negativity, trying to make points to deaf ears. Now, you said you feel like you're wasting your time by saying what you're saying, but you probably are in the sense of if you expect people to really care. Like they don't. People are not going to change their mind because of what you say. They're not really going to change their mind because of what I say. What I'm saying is I bring the logic and the reason, okay? And when I see something to address, I will. But at the same time, the same way you see something important to you, other people don't. I see something important to me, other people don't. People do, then people don't. So you basically, like, my focus is not to try to get you to see things my way. I look at the right. It's like if I tell you it's going to rain tomorrow, it's not going to rain because Aries said it's going to rain. It's going to rain because that's just what's going to happen. All I did was watch the weather forecast, and I'm just telling you it's going to rain. It didn't rain because I said so. You understand me? So when you say that you feel disappointed about the disrespect, okay, disrespecting Earl Spence is not disrespecting me. So, or my family. So I don't know him personal, okay? It's not personal for me. Now, if you understand that, then you understand that if you feel some kind of way about something because you're making it personal, that's a choice that you make. It has nothing to do with anybody else, okay? The reality is, it came down to the two fighters. And like you said, Errol Spence lost bad. Now, you're saying you think he threw the fight. Now, what if somebody feels insulted by you saying that, and then they verbally attack you and feel like, why are you saying that? Or you making excuses for Errol Spence? Yo, you can't just admit the fact he lost. So you're going to entertain that and go back and forth with them, and then what? Then what? Like, I don't care. People going to think what they want to think. So that's the thing. I'm not here to try to convince you to believe what I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. And I'm not going to tell you something because I'm trying to get views and likes, but I don't really mean it. No, I speak the truth, man. I speak what I see. If I don't believe it, I'm not going to say I do. Reality is this. At the end of the day, somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. There was no robbery in the fight. Spence lost. The fact that people were saying things that bothered you, it makes it worse. Him losing is like the icing on the cake, the cherry on top. Let it go, man. Is it really that serious? Now, if you bet money on the fight and you feel some kind of way, whatever, it was your choice. I don't know if you did or not, but what I'm saying, it's choices. I don't see how Errol Spence losing the fight is supposed to make me lose sleep. I didn't lose anything. So for me, it's not that serious. Now, when people go beyond boxing, like I said, start the racism and making hate speeches, look, as I stated, in fact, there were people in the comment section just recently, as I said, they need to shut this big mouth bitch up. And let me get off it what you said for a minute to say what I came here for initially, okay? For Claressa Shields to call out Keith Thurman and she say that she feel like she's a better fighter than Keith Thurman, that she can beat Keith Thurman. Now, I made a short 1-minute video just addressing that. Okay, and that was to lead to this video. The reality is this. Claressa Shields probably in her heart believes that she can beat Keith Thurman. But at the same time, okay, she knows even with that, people are going to pay attention to it. That's why people are talking about it. Whether they believe her or whether they feel like she's delusional or whatever it may be, they're talking about it. They're giving her attention, okay? Claressa Shields saying that she feels she can beat Keith Thurman, she's better than him, and him responding, I feel like, look, for you to even entertain that, Keith, and say we can fight at 160 and make it a charity event and point out that I'm bigger than you, so I'm stronger than you, and okay, well, here's the thing. Jaron Ennis called you out. Jaron Ennis said, you're a good fighter, but he'll smoke you. You responded like you didn't even know who Jaron Ennis was, just to turn around and give him props and say you know who he was. But there's no response to that. There was no, I accept your challenge, let's make it happen. Charity, backyard for free, Madison Square Garden, Las Vegas, UK O2 Arena, nowhere, Wembley State, nothing. All it was, look, you know, he's in the same position I was in when I was a young buck. And, you know, I'm in a different realm and all that. Okay, wait. So you won't fight Jaron Ennis because you're in a different realm. So are you saying you're in the same realm as Claressa Shields? So somehow that fight gets you, that lights a fire underneath your ass, but fighting Jaron Ennis doesn't? So the fact is, this boxing game has become a circus, man. It's a circus show. We got now fighters who you respect enough to think that they wouldn't entertain things like that. You got Conor McGregor calling out KSI. You got guys coming from MMA trying to fight boxers to try to get more money because they can't get that same money in the UFC, right? But they don't really care about the sport. They just, it's money grabbing. You got Tyson Fury entertaining, fighting Francis Ngannou. You got guys that's, I mean, everything popping up on wrestling shows. And what happened to boxers? What happened to the sport of boxing? Everybody keep talking. I told you guys last year, year before that, boxing is getting to a point it has become a joke. And the fact that we have had good fights past couple of months, that's great. But overall, it's just this whole thing of you start to phase things out, okay? Like gas is fueling buses and trucks, and all of a sudden you work for a company where everything is propane. They're starting to phase out, they're trying to phase out the gas, right? Same thing. Boxing gets to a point where it's no different from the WWE. It's like sports entertainment. And you got guys going into fights that they really, in their mind, don't think they can win, but hey, man, that's a big bag. Now, isn't it crazy how Floyd Mayweather, who, as an exit strategy, fought Conor McGregor for his 50th fight, right? Just let me point these things out. And people bashed Floyd, but Floyd was retiring and he wasn't messing up that $300 million. These guys are not making close to that. Nate Diaz just made $20 million fighting Jake Paul. Okay? Jake Paul. What do you think Conor's trying to do? He wants that bag. Now, isn't it funny how when Floyd did it, everybody bashed Floyd? So when I say it's out of jealousy, oh, you're just a Floyd fan. I'm nobody's fan. This is where you guys get me mixed up with yourselves and with other content creators. I'm nobody's fan. It's just certain fighters I like more than others. Okay, I want to see this guy win. I like what he brings to the table. Doesn't mean he's going to win. But that's that. Now, all of a sudden, you got all these guys coming back, these legends matches, you know, trying to fight guys that basically shouldn't even be in a boxing ring, period. You got all this nonsense. Now we got guys accepting challenges from females. We got the WNBA saying that they're better than the men and they can do this and this. And are you kidding me? They're taking 5 steps to take a dunk. Nobody's coming to their games. It looked like they're playing in high school gyms. So are we going to now combine the WNBA with the NBA and have them playing? Listen, this is not chauvinistic, and I have nothing against a woman that wants to stand up for herself, but you can take the worst team in the NBA and they will smoke the best team in the WNBA. And in fact, the worst college male team will smoke the best female team in the WNBA. And you see these videos where these women, 6'6", 6'7", tall ass women come out here trying to play against guys 6'1", 6'2". They think that their height is gonna, get them the advantage. Their ego, and they're getting smoked. They're too slow. They're not physically strong enough, and their egos are causing them to get their asses kicked. Now, regardless to if you hate Claressa Shields, why would you want to see this woman go in there and get beat up by this guy? That's just it. Look at the comments. Somebody need to shut this big mouth nigga up. This big mouth bitch, blah, blah, blah. She talk too much. She's so African, blah, blah, blah. This and this and this. So when I make videos and I'm speaking on these things, as I said, if you guys are selective where maybe you don't care about what they say about Shields or whoever, I don't know what you feel, right? But you felt some kind of way about Spence. That's nobody's fault, man. That's a choice that you made. But as far as me, I didn't fail to vaguely speak on anything. I had no interest. That wasn't on my mind. The fight finally happened, and that's just the point what I'm saying. This is why I lose interest in making these videos at times, because people, the very reason why you see me disappear at times, and it's like, I get back to it. Because at the end of the day, I'm not into the drama, man. We're here to talk about sports. I'm not here with all this storyline nonsense and what people personally feel. I mean, I've addressed people because somebody always come in my comment section and start saying what I should have did or how come I didn't this, and they people that, listen. This is basically all about boxing. So when I'm speaking, like you got people covering Charlo's situation, I'm not talking about what's going on with Charlo, because that's his personal business. That's not boxing. That's boxing news about a boxer. That's not boxing news. It's just news about a boxer going through something personal. And I don't feel like that's my place or anybody else's. Let's dig into his personal life and put it out. What that man chooses to say and do, that's his choice. I'm not into that. So let me explain something to y'all. I could very easily have 300,000 subscribers. And all I got to do is become a part of the go along, get along gang. That's not what I do. That's not what I do. And when I speak from the heart. So I'm not responsible for people because they take something personal or whatever actions they take, or how they feel about something. I don't personally care. But you have, okay, same way people show favoritism to Crawford, you got people that's going to show favoritism to Spence, any other fighter. Okay, in terms of the favoritism of the commentators, and that's nothing new. Why is that shocking? They was acting the same way before the fight even happened. So when I did mention these things, what am I supposed to make 20 videos just saying the same thing about how people are being biased towards Spence? No, that has nothing to do with what's going on in the ring. But when I address a person, because example, somebody made a comment talking about Spence Marks, always talking about this and that, Spence is a bum and blah, blah, blah. I didn't speak to defend Errol Spence personally. I basically sat there and took the logic and reason in what they were saying and showed them it was bullshit, because that same person was making comments about Terrence Crawford and basically overlooking things that was making up lies. Like that guy, same guy said Errol Spence failed to knock out Sean Porter. Terrence Crawford knocked Sean Porter out. No, Terrence Crawford didn't knock out Sean Porter. Sean Porter's dad threw in the towel. He knocked him down. And the last image you saw was Sean Porter pounding his fist on the floor because he was angry. He did not knock him out. Who was the one that cleaned that up? And who was the one that had people in his comment section, but blah, blah. And it's like, listen, I'm not here for all this back and forth nonsense. I'm too grown up for that. So no, that's something you need to understand. You are you. Your choices are your choices. So people are going to always feel disappointed and upset, but that's their business. This has nothing to do with me. So me speaking about boxing news, and this is what I'm telling you. See, you are being sucked in to the whole let's prove a point against those people. Let's say this and let's do that. And they're saying, but it's like, this is my point. That's not what this channel is about. I have no interest in sitting here going back and forth with people about who they personally want to win and how come this person is this. So as far as Charleston White goes, I know who Charleston White is. I'm very aware who he is. This channel is not about politics, and this channel is not about all this other nonsense. Now, at the end of the day, if Charleston White made a video saying he hates Earl Spence, what does that have to do with me? That's that man's business. In fact, I made a video when I spoke about Michael Jai White because he was saying he personally don't like Adrian Broner. Now, he don't know him and never met him, but he's saying he don't like him. You know what I did? Aries made a video saying, that's all, that man's business. But what I don't understand about you, Michael Jai White, Mike Perry called you a bitch ass nigga. And you made excuses for him. You went on Vlad TV and said, that dude has maybe something's wrong with this, something's not right, and the guy, you made excuses. Now, you also said something about, well, he's going to have to see me because I live in such and such. We live in in the same area or something like that, or both live, wherever they live, and we're going to see each other. He's going to have to answer. Okay, well, you never said you didn't like him. You actually said, I don't dislike the guy, but you said you don't like Adrian. That's that man's choice. I'm not telling him he should like Adrian. What I'm saying is Adrian Broner has done nothing to him. Said nothing about him, not publicly. Never heard nothing about Adrian Broner and Michael Jai White. But Mike Perry calls you out and calls you a bitch ass nigga, and you actually said you don't dislike Michael Perry and made excuses about him maybe being not well in the head and all of this type of stuff. But so it was that's whack to me. You understand? So if you can go public and say you don't like a person that you never met, yeah, Adrian did some ignorant, stupid things, and I've pointed that out about Adrian. Not because I hate or dislike Adrian, but because Adrian Broner was the biggest detriment to his career. Not no damn Floyd Mayweather, not Leonard Ellaby, nobody else. Nobody else. Floyd tried to help that man, tried to give that man guidance. And you want to know what people were saying? Oh, Floyd just jealous because he don't want Adrian to accomplish more than him. Wait, so trying to keep him, give him game, give him guidance to where he's not getting sucked up by this game and letting it go to his head. And hey, look, I made a lot of dumb mistakes and stupid decisions. I'm telling you, take it from me. You need to slow down. And that makes Floyd jealous. But then, here this grown man, Adrian Broner, puts himself in a lousy situation. And even at his age, people are treating Adrian Broner like he's some 5-year-old kid that Floyd, Leonard Ellaby, and everybody else just misled. And he admits himself, Al Heyman throwing me money and we just spending it. He admits it himself. Yet, it's still Floyd's fault. So, I talk about what I want to talk about, but at the same time, there's been people that requested certain things, and I've actually made videos upon request. Many times I've done it. But what I'll tell you in terms of advice, it's wise for you to not get yourself all caught up in your feelings because of what people say. Because there's always going to be somebody that disagree with the simplest things you say. And you can't walk around expecting everybody to feel the way you do. So, the reason I made this video initially, like I said, was because of Shields and Thurman. I don't want to see Keith Thurman versus Claressa Shields. I have no interest in that. I say that Thurman should man up and have that same energy with Jaron Ennis because Jaron Ennis has called you out. And basically, if you can sit here and even entertain the point of you fighting a woman, I don't care, charity or whatever. I don't want to hear that nonsense. It doesn't make you look good. You come back after 2-3 years, and every time you come back and you end up saying, I want to fight 3 or 4 more times this year, and then you have another 2 years off. At the end of the day, Keith Thurman is waiting for a big cash payout, and he figured that maybe let me respawn. Let's see what kind of attention this situation get. And if this ends up being a huge bag and Claressa really wants to do it, hey, why not? So you really don't want to fight a Jerron Ennis, and just say it like it is. I'm not interested in that. These two can do what they want. I don't have to watch. You understand? So even when I give the boxing news, it's boxing news, but I'm not going to sugarcoat what I have to say. But in terms of the disrespect that people were giving Errol Spence, yeah, who's more disrespected than Anthony Joshua? There's so many things. So you hear me speaking up against nonsense. You hear me speaking up against definitely racism. I've made several videos where I have to come at people because of the nonsense. Yeah, I mean, people that's been rocking with me, you guys know. But for those who are selective, like I put videos up now, what's going to happen? People are going to pick and choose which one they want to watch. That's not my fault. You know, so the same things you saying I didn't do, you may watch another video and say, oh, he did do that. And that's part of what I'm saying. I'm not here for this soap opera, man. I'm here to talk boxing news. You guys are getting caught up into this whole, but this one said and that one said, and how come this? And it's like, that's worthless. And if you do feel like you're wasting your time saying what you're saying, more than likely than you are. Because you're the one saying that you're wasting your time. Why? Because nobody's listening. It's not that serious. You're probably more upset and worried about Errol Spence's, as far as people being biased than Errol Spence is. In fact, what you're saying to me and suggesting to me, Errol Spence is not even saying. Look at the end of the fight. What was Errol Spence focusing on? Errol Spence was focusing on the better man won. Not what people were saying, not the commentary team, none of that. Errol Spence himself didn't sit there and address none of that. What am I addressing? You understand? I'm addressing the fight. We don't need the drama. That's the whole point. So when you feel some kind of way, you can't expect everybody else to feel the way you do. And even if I chose to not make a video about it, so what? It's not a big deal. It's boxing news, and that's the point. Y'all take these things too far, too serious. And then the thing is, you take it from the attention off the fighter, and then you make it about you. Now, look at how many times you express your disappointment and how you feel about something. It's not my fault. That's up to you. That's your fault. You let these people get to you. It has nothing to do with Aries. So, yeah, and the fact that I took the time to address this, how many people know who you are? Do you have followers on your channel? I don't know what you have on there, right? I don't have to even address this. I could have just ignored it. I'm addressing it because what your comment said, and I read that whole thing on this camera, so you know I read it, and the people watching know I read it. Because that's the very reason why I'm so disinterested in boxing news, because 98% of you are focused on the drama instead of what's important. And that is right there is not what I signed up for. So, I mean, I would just suggest you stop making things take things so serious. Let me explain something to you in closing, and I got a few more things to say, and then I'm going to close this video. You want to know one of the things I said before? And this is in person, okay? I was talking to some guys that's supposed to be gangbangers. And one of the things I said is, stop talking about gangbanging like it's some moral, some high standard, high valued moral code. You all know this is a dirty game and what it is. And it's nothing but street life that's going to lead to an early grave or prison or both. I said, you want to know what pissed me off about these so-called gangbangers? I said, think about this, okay? I know people that say, I don't rock with them niggas. Because like, yo, my grandfather, that nigga was a gangbanger. My father was a gangbanger. Like, and they beef with them niggas. Like, them niggas right there, my grandfather, my father, they ain't fuck them niggas like that, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? So they are ops. Okay, so because they live where they live, and you live where you live, you make it up in your mind that those are your enemies. Even though no blood was shed by anybody over there dealing with you. Your father chose a lifestyle where this is what happened. He signed up for it. Your grandfather chose a lifestyle where this is what happens. He signed up for it. Yet, this racist lying ass woman, okay, yeah, she lied on Emmett Till. And y'all let this woman live and die of natural causes. Nobody went to do that to her. Yet, y'all the same people that sit and talk about black people being treated a certain way, but y'all sit back and let racist people that's not black treat y'all like shit or get away with stuff. So you not mad at her for what she did. You only concerned about black people when you're selective with who it is and where they from. Huh? You know how many people was like, yo, damn, you right, bro. Like, for real, I know I'm right. I know. It's just common sense. And it's a whole lot of other things that I can tie to that. You understand me? If you read the story, you see there was a time where the uncle, okay, because that's who Emmett Till was with when they came and snatched him up. Okay, you talking about Charleston White, right? Now let me give you a little education lesson. When these white guys came to snatch Emmett Till up, you want to know where he was? At his uncle's house. And you know what his uncle was doing? His uncle was scared and trying to protect his family. So when they took Emmett Till out the house, now you know he was lied on, right? This white woman claimed that he grabbed her, bent her over, held her arms behind his back. He wasn't even a big kid on top of that. Okay, but he did that. And then she turns around and she lied. Now, when she admitted the truth, she did no jail time or nothing. But guess what? Guess who was with those racist white guys that came to exact justice on Emmett Till? 3 black guys. And they were the ones holding him down and set him up. Well, see, Emmett Till's uncle had a shotgun in the house, but you know what he didn't do? He didn't use it. And you know what his response was? I'd have had every racist cop, sheriff, deputy, mayor, lawyer, everybody on me if I'd have shot that white man. So if I ask you, well, who did you have a shotgun for? What you think the answer was? Who do you think he had that shotgun for? Definitely wasn't for white people, right? Definitely it wasn't for his oppressor, wasn't for the racist people. So who do you have it for? Okay? So we have far more to deal with. And life itself, we are still at a point where we're focusing on petty shit. And again, this racist woman died at her grave this year, 2023, of natural causes. Yet, black people hate each other based on something that was going on in their grandfathers and fathers' time that had nothing to do with them, but they made it personal. They make themselves a part of it. You already a part of a dirty game, and you talking about justice. So you dictate, basically, it's okay if I go kill another black man, but when somebody else do it, I'm going to say, look at what's happening to our people, even though I'm participating. Now, I took the time to address all of that and understand this. This type of BS is what people are getting views and likes for. They're doing no talking about real boxing, but instead expressing their personal feelings. And whether it's in favor of someone, whether they're spewing hate to one and being showing favoritism to another one, or just hate, or just in their feelings, period, because the fighter that they came to see, and wanted to win lost. Even if it was a dirty referee, I can speak on it. But is it going to change what happened? I mean, was you aware of the videos that I was making? Like you said, you saw me defending Devin Haney. But no, I wasn't defending Devin Haney. I was defending the logic. So when I'm defending Devin Haney, it's not personal. It's the reality, the logic, the truth. So you hear me say all the time, I'm not anybody's fan if you've been watching me. So who and why, okay, are letting people get into their skin? Why? You don't like this, you don't like that person, and I want to see that person. So if I disappointed you because I don't feel the same way that you do, bro, that's something you got to deal with, not me. I speak on things, and like I said, you guys are selective of what you want to watch. If you think female boxing is not shit, you're not interested, and I make a video about Claressa Shields or Alicia Baumgartner or Chantel Cameron or whoever, and you don't watch it, what am I supposed to do? You choose what you want to see. So again, There's many videos like what you saying I didn't do. You're saying I did it earlier, but it's for a different fighter. So, you know what I mean, that doesn't apply to me, man. That's just something you have to work on. And I just suggest, honestly, that you stop letting people get under your skin. If Errol Spence can sit here and say the better man won, no excuses, yet nobody from his team is saying anything about nothing. You guys are sitting up there and understand. Bomac and Derek James shook hands, hugged it out. It's over. It was a fight. It's done. Move on. Rematch or what else? But to sit up and dwell on it, what? There was no robbery in the fight, and it doesn't matter. Look, the commentating team is not the reason Errol Spence lost. The haters is not the reason Errol Spence lost. You understand? So none of that is irrelevant, man. It adds up to nothing. And the reason why I'm talking about this now, because I don't want to talk about it again after this. Now, whether you appreciate me taking the time to address you, so instead of texting you back about it, I made this video. So you see it, you listen to it, you respond, that's fine. Just be respectful and understand. This is not what I got this channel for. Now, if you take your channel and turn it into a boxing channel and you want to speak on things, bro, you conduct your business however you see fit. And hey, I wish you nothing but the best, but you can't expect people to feel exactly the way you do. I'm never expressing something where I'm saying, I want you to feel the way I do, right? But at the end of the day, this is part of what I'm saying, man. We talking about what's happening. Right now is a good time for me to come back in because we had good fights. We had some things happen that we can speak about in terms of boxing. Now, am I going to address things? Because it's not going to be a fight every single week that we're talking about. No. But my point is, I don't want to come on here and all we doing is talking about who said what. I made that clear earlier in a different video. So I don't know if you watched that video, but that's what I'm telling you. People are so caught up into this person said and this one did and how come and on. And that's not what I'm about. So now, in closing, the same way you saying that, let's see how many people speak up and say what I'm saying. That stop this circus show nonsense with what Keith Thurman is talking about with Claressa Shields. And go fight Jerron Ennis. And stop making excuses. We know what these guys are doing. Deontay Wilder's, all these other guys, they're sitting back trying to wait just for the big fights. Because they don't want that banana peel fight. And we know that's what it is. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. And I will catch y'all on the next video.